Hello YouTube, Bane666 here. So I'm making this video to give you two updates for screenings of the Red Pill, one in Edmonton and one in Melbourne. So let's start with the Edmonton screening. It will be
at Shaw Theatre, 11,762 106th Street, Edmonton. Date, Thursday, October 27, 2016. Time, and admission at 6 p.m. showing at 7 p.m. Special post-showing Q&A featuring Karen Straughan, Brian Martinez and Mike Stephenson aka DoctorRandomercam to follow. Tickets are free, but we ask that people RSVP by emailing, and we do encourage people to donate at the door. Tickets are first come, first serve, until allocation is exhausted, limit 2 tickets per email person, extra tickets available at the door.
So, if you're in Edmonton, by all means, go see the Red Pill. Unfortunately, if you're in Melbourne, you may not be so lucky, as the bad news I have to bring you is that feminists started a petition to get the Red Pill showing in Melbourne shut down, and it seems that they've succeeded, at least for the time being. So let's have a look at their petition.
Stop Palace Cinemas screening the Red Pill film. Kino Cinema in Melbourne is scheduled to screen misogynistic propaganda film The Red Pill in just over 2 weeks.
Of course, this is an assumption made by the author, as the author has not seen The Red Pill.
Filmmaker Cassie J follows members of online hate group, The Red Pill, known to most as the sexist cesspit of the internet.
Oh, The Red Pill is an online hate group. Well, that's interesting. It's good to see that the author has all her facts right. I mean, you know, at least she hasn't referred to us as meninists.
The general plotline goes something like this. Feminist J decides to investigate rape culture, opens the first hit on Google Red Pill, and before she knows it, she has seen the light and converted to meninism.
Oh, shit. I guess I spoke too soon about the meninism bit. It's really simple. If someone is making an argument against the men's rights movement and they mention the word meninism, they automatically lose the debate. If you are that ignorant about your opposition that you bring up meninism, it is an instant fail. But it's interesting that the author here portrays Cassie J as someone who just came across the first hit on the internet and suddenly she was converted, as if she didn't do any research. She actually spent years working on this movie, talking to both sides, having her own opinions challenged. But of course this dishonest cunt who wrote this petition can't actually say that, can she? But let's continue.
The documentary's star, a voice for men's Paul Lamb, is a pro-rape racist who in 2010 wrote, "Should I be called to sit on a jury for a rape trial, I vow publicly to vote not guilty, even in the face of overwhelming evidence that the charges are true."
Well, look at that. Apparently Paul Elam is pro-rape, according to the author of this petition. Now, that's a pretty big claim. Now, the quote here from Paul is an actual quote from Paul, and it's one that I have criticised in the past, as well as some other MRAs have as well. And the point of the article, which this quote comes from, was being critical of the court system when it comes to rapes. And I think Paul made a couple of good points in the article, but I disagree with the way he went about it. And I also disagree with his statement here. But at no point would I say that this statement or that article was in any way pro-rape. Paul isn't going out saying that people should be raped. It's something he has never said in any way, shape or form. Okay, being critical of the court system is not the same as promoting fucking rape. But let's continue.
He also claimed online that young women walk through life with the equivalent of "I'm a stupid, conniving bitch, please rape me" neon sign glowing above their empty little narcissistic heads. Thank you to Alan Scherstell for these particularly offensive quotes.
So there's a pattern when these type of people criticize the men's rights movement. What they typically do is they use 3 articles written by Paul Elam, 2 of which I've been critical of in the past, as examples of why, all MRAs are bad. 3 articles out of hundreds that he's written. And then they go on to give examples of people who aren't MRAs and claim that these people are leading examples of men's rights activists, etc., etc., etc. We're about to see a little bit of that in a minute. But before we get to that, I should point out that in the previous paragraph I missed a bit where she referred to Paul Elam as a racist, but surprisingly didn't supply any evidence. I'm just curious, what exactly has Paul Elam said which would make her think that he's a racist? I guess just the fact that he's a white male is enough these days, isn't it? But anyway, let's continue.
In a country where 1 in 3 women are victims of gender-based violence, it is repulsive to legitimize and promote this behavior.
First of all, this is irrelevant because the Red Pill does not promote domestic violence, and second of all, I do have a problem with the term gender-based violence. It's built up on the premise that, violence is something that men do to women, and it essentially ignores the fact that violence also occurs with same-sex couples, and of course, females to male. But domestic violence is something which is generational, not gender-based. Next.
This is the kind of disgusting, violent message that is totally out of line with Australian values and law. Earlier this year, Peter Dutton refused a visa to Red Pill Dariush Rushvalazadeh, and in 2014 Julian Blanc also had his visa cancelled.
And of course, Rush V or Julian Blanc have absolutely nothing to do with the Red Pill movie or the men's rights movement. But, I guess it's mandatory to mention non-MRAs when you're arguing against MRAs, isn't it? Next.
Please do not associate your cinema with the kind of people who teach men how to violate women physically and emotionally. Please stand with the women everywhere, and do not promote misogynistic hate. Please cancel your screening of the Red Pill.
So this petition ticks all the boxes when it comes to feminists responding to MRAs. It quotes a handful of articles from Paul Elam, of course never linking to the actual articles, so people can go and read the entire articles and see the quotes in context and understand the points that Paul was trying to make. That would, be too difficult, of course. And then there's claims of being misogynistic and racist. And then there's false association with non-MRAs. Can't write one of these pieces without adding that, of course. And then, of course, there's mentioning Menonism, which just shows exactly how ignorant the author is. And finally, there's the mandatory link to We Hunted the Mammoth, which just shows that this particular author lives in an echo chamber. So well done, Susie Smith, if that's your real name. You've shown that living in an echo chamber is an effective form of groupthink. Well done. And of course you can't have free speech or alternate opinions threatening your groupthink and your echo chamber, can you? Which is, I'm guessing, the reason you started this petition in the first place. Don't want any free thinkers actually thinking for themselves and considering other points of view. That could be dangerous to the feminist narrative, couldn't it? Now, I've got a challenge to feminists out there. We hear all the time that most feminists are bad. Not all feminists are like that. In fact, we constantly hear it's just a group of radfems who ruin it for everyone. It's just a handful of radfems making the noise, doing the bad stuff. It's just those evil misandrists. There's only a handful of them just over there. And we really shouldn't use them as an example of the mainstream feminist movement, because the mainstream feminist movement is all about helping men and about being open-minded and listening to other opinions. You've all heard the arguments before. Well, now's the time to put up or shut up. If this is actually true, then I challenge any feminist out there to come and stand with us, to add your voice to ours, and let it be known that this is bullshit. Now, American Anarchist has already done this on Twitter, and I give him credit for that. But that's only a start. I'd like to see you guys make videos denouncing these feminists. Or even better, I would like to see you guys start your own petition. Call it something like, feminists protecting free speech, or feminists supporting the red pill shown in Melbourne, or something like that, and show us that not all feminists are like that. Because if you choose to remain silent, then you're letting these people represent you. And if what you've been saying is true, that they don't represent you, then you need to speak up. It's that fucking simple. If you remain silent, you are supporting these people and letting them get away with censoring free speech. It's your choice. And if you choose to do nothing, don't be surprised when we judge you for it. But, having said that, I gotta say the feminists who started this petition and got the Red Pill movie banned in Melbourne would have to be the biggest bunch of morons you could ever possibly come across. I mean, apart from the falsehoods in the poorly written petition, what I mean is it's just an incredibly bad strategy. Think of it this way, right? If they had done nothing, there would have been a couple of hundred people in Melbourne who went to see the Red Pill movie. Probably 200 people. Maybe, if it was really, really successful, there might be 400 or 500. But that would be the best case scenario. Most people would have never heard of the movie, would know nothing about it. And those going would already know about it and would already be anti-feminists or MRAs to begin with. Most of them would already be on our side. It's unlikely there would be that many people who would be neutral parties or on the feminist side who would actually go. Like I said, most people wouldn't have heard about it. But now, there's articles appearing in newspapers across the nation. Now it's getting public attention. Now there are people who are interested who wouldn't have even known about it beforehand. Some of these might see it out of curiosity. Some might see it because they support freedom of speech and don't like the fact that a movie is being silenced, an opinion is being silenced. Some might even go and see it out of outrage, determined to see those evil MRAs in all their nastiness. And a percentage of them might even leave with their opinions changed. Now, it's disappointing for David from Men's Rights Melbourne and all the others who have put so much work into getting the Melbourne screening up and running. But every dark cloud has a silver lining. And the silver lining in this case is those trying to silence us have actually helped spread the word. They've actually helped create more public interest. So I gotta say, Susie Smith and your fellow 2,000 odd feminists, I gotta say thank you. Thank you for showing us what type of people you are, and thank you for helping us spread the word about the Red Pill movie. Now, hopefully David from Men's Rights Melbourne will organise somewhere else to show the movie. But worst case scenario, if he doesn't, then eventually the movie will be downloadable from the internet for a price, of course. I'm guessing it will be a reasonable price. And I highly recommend everyone go and buy the movie and support Cassie J. Because ultimately, the feminists who are trying to stifle free speech are going to fail. They can try, they can be a pain in the ass, they can be a hindrance, but at the end of the day, all they do is expose themselves as being bigots, and they help our cause. So once again, a big thank you, Susie Smith. So just before I go, a reminder to sign the petition down below to try to get the movie back. So each and every one of you signing that will be a huge help. And let's not forget, the Red Pill is being shown in Edmonton on the 27th. So if you're a local, please make sure you go and support the movie.
This is a disgusting film with a disgusting message. You may complain about this petition trying to censor freedom of speech, But what you don't understand is the difference between freedom of speech and freedom of consequence. Freedom of speech allowed this film to be made. Freedom of consequence allows me to sign this petition blocking it. As an avid supporter usually of Palace Cinemas, I'm appalled by your lack of tact in showing this film, which serves only to stroke the ego of a select few, and offers nothing insightful to women who are actively harmed by the behaviors depicted in the film. As much respect as I have for the filmmakers as a fellow director for getting this screened, I must protest, especially for the reasons given in the petition description. The Red Pill movement is bullshit, disgusting misogyny, and while I'm for free speech, I'm against speech that will bring harm to people. Men don't need more excuses to perpetrate the behavior they carry out day to day anyway. We don't need this appalling garbage in any cinema, anywhere. You can't want to be a part of promoting violence against women. Sounds like what we don't need right now in this already hateful world. Freedom of speech is one thing, hate speech is another. We live in a civilized society that should be overwhelmingly denouncing such rubbish. The Red Pill are a hate group that view women as little more than objects. To air this propaganda to the public is to spread dangerous and hateful ideas, lines the pockets of these bigots, and serves to tarnish the reputation of your company. Because films like this perpetuate a disgusting culture that treats half our population like nothing more than meat. It's sickening to think that views like that of the films exist, let alone are supported by a disturbingly large number of people. It's time to end it. I believe that we should not give a voice to hate. Women should be respected, actually treated like human beings, and not bitches or witches or dolls. Signed to stop these sort of ideas being shown in our cinemas. A film that is not debate but is propaganda has no place in Palace Cinemas. I signing because no means no in any language. As a therapist, I know what rape does to a victim. I feel that this will allow more men to use the excuse that it's okay to harass women. Enough is enough. Look at the number of women that have died this year alone because of attitudes like this, and you wonder why we don't want this film shown. Fuck misogynistic pro-rape racist assholes and their stupid superiority complexes. Are you serious putting this on a public platform? If people are intrigued by this mindset, or for whatever gross reason support it, they can watch it in private. Do not help spread their message. For fuck's sake. This film promotes violence against women and is dangerous. This is vile misogynist hate speech and has no place here. We don't need to encourage any more violence against women. Menonism isn't a fucking thing. This film is an abomination and should not be shown. This is not a film for Australia. Cancel this showing. This is not a documentary, it is a dangerous propaganda film masquerading as an unbiased documentary when in reality it was funded largely by the men's rights movement and Red Pill community. The film attempts to paint the issues that these men are facing as the fault of feminism, rather than the fault of the very real structural problems such as a failing mental health system, welfare system, parental support systems, etc., and completely fails to acknowledge the sinister and dangerous hate speech associated within the Red Pill and MRA communities. This blatant manipulation of the truth is dangerous as it has the potential to influence already disenfranchised and vulnerable young men into believing that misogyny and violence towards women is justified because men are the real victims. I am a huge supporter of Palace Cinemas. I see all my films at Kino and Nova, and I was so shocked and appalled to hear that you had chosen to screen this film. Please do the right thing and do not screen this misogynistic drivel. Rape culture is alive and well. How did Brock Turner serve only 3 months in prison, I wonder? And menonism is a joke. Don't let these pathetic excuses for human beings regress us into the dark ages. If you care about the women, trans and non-binary people around you, please, please, please sign and share. Because fuck this toxic bullshit. It's a fucking disgrace. Please boycott this hateful film. What the hell? We frequent these cinemas all the time. Deal breaker. Men's rights activists are not helping men, or women obviously, with their crusades. They are about misogyny, homophobia, and racism. They do not care about men who are not straight and white. They don't help them either. What they do is create and support rapists. They spread lies about statistics, they vilify women and fail to acknowledge their own failings. They are setting men back. Do not show this nonsense. Disgusting and dangerous. Rape culture should end rather than be perpetuated. Please do not screen this film in your cinemas. Abhorrent in a civilized society. This is a disgusting message, and is not what we need in this day and age. It's 2016, for goodness sake. Absolutely disgusting. It really should be quite obvious why I am signing this. This is disgusting and needs to be stopped. Because this film actively violates women and incites violence towards them, it's a disgrace to our culture and our women. It's not okay. This kind of thing should never be promoted anywhere. Please don't screen this. Please. This is misogynistic garbage. I'm signing because Australia has such a large history of rape culture and sexism, and is only just starting to make changes in a positive direction. To screen this would be a huge step back. This is a disgusting, immoral and provocative message that promotes the violation of human rights, safety, justice and law. It mustn't be screened. I'm signing because I stand with every woman who has suffered at the hands of hateful men. These men complain about feminism as though it affects them as much as our lack of equality does. Don't endorse misinformation and misogyny. I'm a regular customer, but won't be anymore if this screens. I believe we have a social responsibility to not share and distribute misogynistic material, as it is not an act of free speech but more about the suppression and misdirection of truth. I'm signing because I am one of the 1 in 3, and I am saddened to think that more people may suffer because of the hatred spread by this film. Appalled. We shouldn't still be having these conversations. As a future medical professional, I will be picking up the pieces and undoing the harm ideas like this cause for my whole career. Disgusting that something like this would be promoted in a country that already has a problem with violence against women. If people really want to watch this, they'll find a way, but big cinema chains should avoid validating misogyny.